What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Early Edge Sunday Night Football Preview Edition. I'm your host, Alan Bell. We got a fantastic show lined up for you here, and I'll tell you what, before we get and bring in the stars of the show, let's take a look how we're doing so far today. And not bad. Look, what I've learned is this. Whenever the maestro takes 47 picks on a quarterback, you take the 47 picks on said quarterback. And I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and bring in the stars of said show. Gentlemen, got a lot going on. How we doing, man? Everybody good?
I'm doing amazing, but nobody can understand how the Arizona Cardinals can get a delay a game on a 2-point conversion to save their season.
Yeah, I'm doing great, AB. Real quick, I just wanted to tip my hat to you. Just the fact that you're producing and hosting, massive kudos. Not an easy job, especially when you get bombarded by emails from yours truly every 5 minutes when the line changes on a prop that I'm on. So tip of the hat to you, AB.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what, I appreciate that. Two, your emails are always welcomed and appreciated. Maestro, you just got fired up about something. What do you got?
Looks like we got overtime in Las Vegas, and wow. That keeps a couple of these Derek Carr props alive, which I'm happy about. I'm also happy about because it's been a very rough day in the contest for me, but Arizona is a play. Actually, it would have been better to not get that 2-point conversion and just cover, Mike.
That's what I'm rooting for. I got 6, and I did not want this.
Can I ask you guys' opinions? If Arizona's able to come back in this game and ultimately beat the Raiders, would you say that is a more improbable comeback than what we saw with the Ravens losing and with the Browns losing?
Dude, great question. Yeah, Maestro, what do you think?
I would say the Jets-Browns was the most improbable because, Cleveland was controlling that game. They missed an extra point. And the other teams, we're talking about the Cardinals and the Dolphins, have a ton of explosive talent on the field that, went off in the fourth quarter. But I blame this on Josh McDaniels. They had the lead, and he got uber conservative. I mean, that was ridiculous play calling. Run into the line, throw like a 2-yard out, and then punt it back up only 1 score. You were only up 8 points, and you acted like you were up 14.
Hey, I know some Patriots fans that have complained about that for a while. Yeah, but Mike, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, nothing. I'm just watching the game, sweating it. I have Cardinals +6. And I did not want this going to overtime. We could still push it when they score the touchdown and don't kick the extra point. But what I'm worried about is a field goal from the Raiders, then a pick 6. I've seen it happen before. Then you still don't cover the 6 when they score 9 in the overtime. But this will be fun. Let's sweat it.
It's quite frustrating. I feel you. And especially that's what I love about this Sunday night show is that we've got so many things and games going on. It seems like the Sunday afternoon games always come down to crazy finishes. Now, I'll tell you what, we're going to jump in to the Bears at the Packers tonight, but keep it going. Anything that's going on in this game, feel free, break that down. And I also do not have a TV in front of me, so I would appreciate the updates here. But I'll tell you what, we're going to go ahead and get into our best bets for the game tonight. Mikey, coming over to you. Wait. Mikey, we're going to wait on the donkey. Everybody, you've got to hit 500 likes to get Mike's 500 likes. Make sure to smash that like button right now. Prop stars, we'll come over to you first. What do you got?
AB, let's do it. Yeah, I've got a prop that I love. I want to preface by saying that I do caution a lot of you guys to avoid running back reception props, as I think they are highly volatile, but I do like this one quite a bit, so I'm going back to the well. I like A.J. Dillon over, I believe it is at 14.5 receiving yards. I'd play this one up to 16.5 receiving yards. Dillon's coming off a 5-catch, 46-yard performance where he had 6 targets, which actually led the team in targets, AB, last week. He played on 51% of the snaps, ran a route on 37% of Rodgers' dropbacks. His 38% target rate was by far tops on the team. Since entering the league in 2021, he has a 1.46 yards per route run, which is highly, highly respectable and even better than Aaron Jones, who's known to be a very good pass-catching running back himself. Also, AB, you want to talk efficiency? Dillon has reeled in 39 of his last 43 targets. That is impressive stuff. With the lack of receiving talent on Green Bay and weapons, I think Rodgers is going to have to continue to lean on both these backs, catching passes in addition to running the football. And considering that you can get Dillon at 14.5, which is like 30% of what, or like 35% of what Aaron Jones's receiving prop is. This is why I'm backing him here. I just think this number is too low. Love me some A.J. Dillon over 14.5 receiving yards.
Well, I'll tell you what. First off, excellent. Second, what I love is seeing, Prop Stars, your success over the last 2 weeks that you've had on the Friday stream, correct?
That is right, AB. Yeah,
Break it down for us. I believe that's 8-2.
8-2,
right?
AB, 4-1 last week, 4-1 again this week. Very happy. Both had a positive day in my article. Both articles that I have that come out weekly. Sportsline subscribers have access to that. Best value in sports betting, and it's not even close, as Coach would say. So yeah, read my article. Drops every Thursday, usually an hour or two before Thursday Night Football. It has 4 or 5 of my favorite props going into the weekend. And yeah, we're on a roll, AB. Actually, I hit my last, I believe it's going back. I've hit a lot of props, so we're doing good, AB.
You know, it's a good problem to have when you can't count them all. And I'll say for everybody expecting the coach tonight, he is in a charity dinner, I believe, for Brett Saberhagen, the MLB legend, who Buckets referred to as Brett Copenhagen, which I thought was hilarious. But now, all right, Maestro, coming over to you. You got one play tonight. David Montgomery, what you got?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of what David Montgomery did in week 1. I'm just checking the stats right now. 17 carries for 26 yards. And that was, I know it was terrible weather, but then the backup, Khalil Herbert, comes in and he explodes for 5 yards a carry, 9 carries, 45 yards. And there was a lot of talk in the offseason about a new zone running scheme and whether David Montgomery was going to fit into the scheme. There's talk that we may see a changing of the guard in the backfield. His rushing prop is 13.5 rushes. You know, a guy that's his number is usually going to be higher than that. I think that's telling you something. And I'm going to go under, but it also has to do with game script. I mean, they're a 10-point dog here. So, and he might be better in pass protection and he might catch a bunch of passes out of the backfield, but this prop only cares about rush attempts under 13.5. I hope the Packers get off to an early lead, force the Bears to throw, and we cash this.
Yeah, I feel you completely, right? Like understanding the game script. We're going to talk about that here in 1 second. I'm on the Packers team total over 26.5. I believe that after week 1, we are going to see a much more concerted effort and early from Green Bay in regards to their offense. I think they're going to put some points up. And we're also going to play Mason Crosby over 1.5 field goals. And I'll tell you why. If the Packers are in a tight game, Mason Crosby will get used a lot. If the Packers are up in a game script that we kind of think in terms of a 10-point spread here, yeah, like they're not going to force the issue on 4th down. Like they will take field goals when they have the opportunity. So we're going to play team total over 26.5, and we're going to play Mason Crosby over 1.5 field goals. All right, we're going to get some questions here in the chat. But first, like we just said, like I do want to talk game script in this. And Mikey, I'm going to come to you first, man. Like, all right, we've got a total of what? 42, right? Low total, but a large spread, 10. So essentially the books are telling us that Chicago's not going to score that much. Green Bay is going to kind of lead the front here. Like, how do you see this game coming from a game script? And are there any pitfalls that we need to watch out for?
Yeah, so as far as game script and total and spread, I'll attack them all quickly. I'll give you my leans on everything. So I have pretty decent leans on both spread, total, and 2 player props. As far as spread, I lean on Green Bay -10. I prefer the 10 over the 10.5 for obvious reasons. I still think the game is one that if this were 3 or 4 weeks later, even this would be a -13.5 situation. We just haven't seen that great game from Green Bay yet. I also lean towards the over on the total. Yes, it is at a interesting key number here. 41 is a very key number. 43 and 44 are also quite significant in the NFL. I'm electing to wait because what I see in the first quarter is I could see a long Green Bay drive that may only result in a field goal. I could see the Bears running the football a little bit. I want that live total to drop below 41. At 40.5, I become interested in that point. But I do lean over. I think it speeds up a little bit towards the second half of the game. And then player props that I lean on, I lean over on Allen Lazard, 38.5 receiving yards. This number has his ankle injury priced in. I think there's no doubt about that. If he were healthy, we would expect this number to be 46.5, 47. So I'm very interested in looking at that one right now. And then the other prop, I'm trying to remember who the other prop that I have circled for a live play. I'm blanking on it. I've got it.
Dude, it'll come back to you.
I think it was A.J. Dillon over 14.5 receiving yards.
Yes, I like AJ Dillon. I like both of the backs on the receiving props, actually. I think that they're still going to be heavily involved.
Yeah. All right, props coming to you, man. Like, what do you think about what Mike just broke down in regards to game script? Any props that you kind of looked at, almost pulled the trigger, didn't? Like, what are your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, I'm with Mikey on Lazard. I like that quite a bit. Obviously, making his season debut tonight. He's by far Rodgers' most trusted weapon, especially when you get down into the red zone, and scored 8 touchdowns over his last 10 games. Really came on strong in the second half of last season. I think he's going to kind of be the de facto number one option in the passing game, sans Devontae Adams, and you're going to see him heavily involved. I think he's going to add a big boost. He's just a reliable target, and you just saw what happened last week. Just a lot of drops, inconsistency, guys being in spots that Rodgers wasn't expecting them to. And that's kind of what you have when you have a bunch of rookies like Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, etc. So, yeah, I think his impact is going to be significant for the team. Yeah, I just expect Green Bay to come out kind of similar to last year, right? They got trounced week 1. People were calling for Aaron Rodgers, saying he was like, past his prime. Then they came back, obviously had a great season, stormed back week 2, made an example out of, I forget who they played, but I think it was New Orleans that smoked them week 1 last season, if I'm not mistaken. I expect something similar tonight where they make an example out of the Bears. I think they're going to lean heavily on the backfield. I really like A.J. Dillon. I think this guy is an elite running back. They also have another elite running back in Aaron Jones, a little bit older, but I think both these guys are going to be heavily, heavily involved in the game plan. I still think the Packers can be plenty good even without Devontae Adams as the de facto number one receiver. So, yeah, I'm just expecting an effort out of Green Bay. And then as far as Chicago is concerned, I just think this team is a mess, just very little talent. The offensive line, in my opinion, is one of the worst units in the league. Justin Fields was sacked more than any quarterback in the NFL last season. I think Green Bay is going to get after him tonight. I think he's going to not have a lot of time, and then he just doesn't have a lot of talent in the receivers. I think Darnell Mooney is a fine receiver, but I think he's miscast as a number one guy. I think he's more profiles as a number 2 wide receiver, and there's just not a lot of other talent there alongside of him. I know that they have your guy, Velus Jones, AB, but yeah, Cole Kmet, I think he only had 1 target, 0 receptions last week. I'm assuming he'll be a bigger part of the game plan. He did run quite a few routes, which is encouraging. So, yeah, just not a lot to like on this Bears offense, in my opinion. So I'm staying away from any Bears props, but I do like Larry's angle as far as how he's choosing to fade Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like when you're looking at any Bears plays, because there's so many risks that can happen, right? Like, talking about like the Bears run game, like gone, like out of the picture by the end of the first quarter, right? And then it's just Justin Fields just doing whatever Justin Fields does. And it worked against San Francisco last week in the rain, right? But, that could go south as well. All right, so question in the chat here, and anybody feel free to chime in. Props, I'll come to you first on this one. Our man Ryan asks, Aaron Rodgers, over 250 yards passing.
I think that's a really efficient number, to be honest. Without Devontae Adams in this offense, while I do still think they'll be effective, I do think they're going to have to transition to more of a balanced offense. They're going to run the ball a lot, lean heavily on their backfield. I also think they're going to slow things down. I believe last year, Packers were number 1 as far as their time elapse on each play. Like when they snap the ball, they would take longer than any other team in the NFL in order to, control clock, keep the other offense on the sideline. I think that's certainly by design. We're going to see a lot of ball control, a lot of short area passes, and a lot of long sustained drives, in my opinion. So, yeah, I would say that's a fairly efficient number. When I'm looking at Rodgers, as far as taking an over with him is concerned, I want to feel like the team opposing him is going to be able to push him. I just don't think this Bears team is going to be able to. I think Green Bay is going to have their way with them. They're going to be able to run the ball effectively, and they're just not going to need Rodgers to air it out a ton. So I don't like the over on the 250.
Yeah, I feel you. Any thoughts you guys had? Mike, Maestro?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with it that the number's efficient. Anytime you have a game that we project to be this lopsided, you have to be incredibly careful with it, especially considering where the game is being played. I think that what you'll see is a lot of short fields for that Green Bay offense tonight as well. Short fields with strong running game, just a recipe. It's possible. It's obviously very possible for him to rack this up and frankly have 200 yards in the first half of this game. It's just not something that I would recommend investing in. In fact, what I would probably do if you're just dead set on playing Aaron Rodgers yardage props, I would play under 250 right now to start, and then potentially look for a live in-game over as that number comes down into the low 200s, high 190s.
Nice. Maestro, what were you doing down there? Go ahead. Yeah. You're on mute.
Sorry, I was trying to keep quiet to not disturb everyone. But yeah, I mean, that unbelievable 4th and 1 call by Arizona, they could have tried a long field goal. They go for it. They get aggressive. The ball was there, but a great play by the defensive back to knock it out. It should have been held on to, though, and now the Raiders can go down and win it with the field goal. I just want to say this game, I mean, today's been a day where big favorites, and I'm speaking from personal experience with Denver and Cincinnati, they go down in flames, and as well as the Cleveland Browns. You have 3 favorites of 6 or more that 2 of them lost outright. And go ahead, Alex. So it just makes it a little leery to lay the points with Green Bay. I think the play is to lay the points, especially if it's under 10. If you can find a 9.5, I would still lean that way, but you got to be leery after what's happened today to the big favorites.
Dude, it's been a crazy day. And props, go ahead in 1 second. I just wanted to address something. We had 2 different bots in the chat right there. We got rid of them. They're gone. But I would like to say we've got 2 of them. You know what? I think that's going to be like, if we could teach the bots how to click the like button, we'll get the donkeys so much faster. Props, go ahead. What do you got?
Shout out to the bots, AB. I have a question for you, Larry. Also, Mikey, AB. Would love to hear you guys chime in. I haven't had that opportunity really to watch much of this Raiders-Cardinals game. Just looking at a box score, seeing Davante Adams with 6 targets, 2 receptions for 12 yards. Really thought this game would be high scoring, a lot of yardage. Very surprised by that. Would love you guys' take on what's happening with Davante Adams.
It looked like it early. Go ahead. I mean, Maestro, you've been all over this one. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, they were moving up and down the field and kind of using Davante Adams all the attention and finding other guys. And Carr was absolutely locked in, and they got super conservative in the second half and let this game, come back to where they're in overtime now. I mean, his completion percentage was like 80 or 90% in the first half. There was no resistance at all. And then they stalled once in the red zone, took a field goal, and that was that. And then now they're in overtime. But, yeah, they took their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
Took the foot off the gas, and there's a new WR1. His name is Mac Hollins. He is the favorite target of Derek Carr today. Eight targets. Mr. Hollins.
That's crazy. All right, so he had 8 targets. How many did Adams have in week 1? It was like 12, right?
17 in week 1.
17. It was some crazy number. All right, so our man Derek Carr is focusing in. All right, some questions in the chat here. Justin Fields, INT. Look, I love it. The problem is it's like juice to like minus 240, right? I mean, it's just a crazy, crazy number. So I can't come out with it. I can't tell you that that's what you should do, but yeah.
Watch your books. Again, more books are adding more and more live player props during the game. If you like that Fields number and he hasn't thrown one by halftime, that number is definitely going to come down on it if they still leave it available. And if he hasn't thrown one by halftime, that means the game's competitive. And it could be a very interesting spot for it.
Yeah, it's a sharp play right there. Props.
I like Rashawn Gary to record a sack tonight.
All right. How many sacks do you think they get on Fields? Because look, King James asked, Fields sacks plus minus 5.
Yeah, I was going to say that seems like the number 4.5. I was going to guess it would be there. I'd obviously lean over for Green Bay. But yeah, I think Rashawn Gary has a great chance to get a sack. So I didn't look at this, but I'd be curious what his line is to record a sack. And if it's the right price, that's something I'd bet.
Yeah, if anybody has that on DraftKings, take a look at that real quick. All right, so we got a multitude of questions here in the chat. I'm just going to kind of just throw them all up against the wall. You guys take them as you see fit. So Simple Saint asks, Lazard over 38.5 receiving yards, minus 120. All right. Steven asks, A.J. Dillon over 2.5 receptions, plus 130. Alan Lazard over 3.5 receptions, plus 115. And Javon asks, Dillon over 49.5 rushing yards. Already played it, but wanted your thoughts. So Lazard over 38.5 receiving yards, or 3.5 receptions. A.J. Dillon over 2.5 receptions. And, Dillon over 49.5 rushing yards. Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I like Lazard a lot. It's very close to an official play for me. I'm just wanting to caution that the number is definitely the ankle injury is priced into that number. If he was fully healthy, I can't see many scenarios where this number doesn't close at least 44.5 receiving yards. So given the role that I think a lot of us expect him to have. So I like the over there quite a bit.
Yeah. Props, Maestro.
Yeah, I like Alan Lazard, mentioned it earlier. I pretty much share the exact same sentiment as Mike regarding him. So yeah, I'm leaning over there. As far as AJ Dillon is concerned, I prefer the yards at 14.5, considering he can get that on one reception. As far as the 2.5 receptions, obviously you're getting a good price there at plus 130. So yeah, I'd lean over on that as well, but I do prefer the yardage there if you have access to the 14.5 number. As far as his rushing total is concerned, I'd lean over there, but just considering Aaron Jones only had 5 rushing attempts last week, I do expect that number to come up this week. Granted, we should see a more favorable game script where both backs should conceivably have double-digit carries in this game. So, yeah, both are totally live for their rushing props, but I do expect Aaron Jones' usage, at least on the ground, to increase a bit, at least compared to last week, where AJ Dillon out touched him but like times 2. Like, right, he had like double-digit carries, while Aaron Jones only had 5 rushing attempts.
Yeah. All right. Michael Roberts in the chat says, I'm not a subscriber, but make the chat subscriber only. You know what? Dude, we appreciate it. That's awesome, man. Like, you don't have to be a Sportsline subscriber, man. Come on. Dude, jump in the chat every single show that we have. You're a big part of it, man. We appreciate having you. All right.
Hey, can
Maestro,
I just
I was going to say, you're going wild down there. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, Arizona wins on a fumble return touchdown, but I missed the Derek Carr prop by 1 completion. When I bet it was 25.5, and I had no clue it was going to come down to 24.5. The last completion of the day, I believe, was number 25. And the ball comes out. Arizona scoops and scores. It was Renfro. Yeah, clear fumble, clear touchdown, game over.
Wow. And Renfro rarely fumbles either. Yeah, props, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a challenge for somebody in the chat. If one of you can come up with what the live odds were for the Cardinals to win this game. Also, I'd like to know the live odds also for the Jets and the Dolphins when the lead was I guess, what was the peak odds?
Lead,
what was the maximum number that each of those had? If you were
the Ravens were up, the Ravens were up 28-7
in the fourth quarter or third quarter.
Yeah, I know at least the third. What was the other game that you said?
Jets and Browns, and then obviously this Cardinals-Raiders game. I'd love to know what the max number was for all 3 of these live if you were betting the money line for the underdog.
Yeah, if anybody has those, drop those in. Mike, were you about to say something?
No, I'm just incredibly happy. Cardinals +6 is a winner, and the prop hits. Feeling
nicely done.
Feeling good, and most importantly, an AFC West team loses.
Was that you on Dortch today, Mike?
What's up?
Yeah,
I was on Dortch. Yes, I had Dortch and the Cardinals +6.
Love me some Dortch.
And this morning, like we'll pull the video. Mike said, like when he was breaking it down, he said, look, he's gonna have like his first reception is gonna be over 20 yards. I think his first was like 29.
29.
Over 17.5. Yep.
Yeah.
29-yard touchdown.
All right, here's a couple interesting ones here. All right, so Keely, both teams score a TD in the first half +100. I don't like it. I mean, it can certainly happen. The Bears scare me here. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure the Bears score a touchdown tonight, let alone in the first half of the game. They probably will find the end zone at some point, but not something I'd be overly excited about betting.
Yeah, there's risk there for sure. And then this one. Packers total touchdowns over 3 at +105. Now, you do get push insurance here at 3, which fascinates me. What are you guys' thoughts? Anybody have any thoughts here?
If you're going to take it, maybe also take the lowest you can find on Mason Crosby total points as well. Because if they don't hit over 3 touchdowns, you're definitely cashing that, but there's also a great chance that you're cashing both of them. Way I would look at it, but
that's a great.
Really excited to play.
Yeah, that's a great look at it. And props what you were talking about. Rashawn Gary sack +125.
There we go. I like that number there. I'm actually going to play that myself.
Yeah.
And the thing you have to worry about, though, with those is that a half sack is not going to get you. Sometimes it's over. If it's over 0.75, you'll lose on a half sack, or if it's over a half, you'll get a push. But just make sure on that, because if he shares a sack, you don't get it.
Yeah. Mike, question for you. Packers first half spread, -6.5.
I lean that way. Yeah, I lean that way. Not strong enough to make it a play on my own, but I do lean that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you there. All right. Now, I'll tell you what. We're going to be completely honest. I have no idea how many likes that we have on the show, but I'm going to assume that it's 500. And you know what? If it's not, we'll get it on the next one Monday night. Mike, you ready to do the donkey here?
Ready for the donkey. Let's do it.
Let's do it indeed. All right, let me pull it up here.
AB, you are a pushover compared to Coach. I just want to put that out there.
Hey,
Coach would never let the chat off the hook like that, AB. But that's why we love you so much, AB. I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing, but
let me say, it's substitute teacher rules. We're bringing in a TV. You're going to treat it like it's like March Madness when you're in high school.
When it's a substitute teacher, you just want everybody to like you and have a good day. And
hey, we're just chilling, man. Like I just got to get you to like me for a day. I don't have to be your favorite for a year. Mike, here's a donkey, man. Go ahead. What you got?
All right. Yeah, we got our alternate lines here. Again, feel free to add or subtract things that you do not like from these. Packers -3.5 on the alt spread. Bears +20.5. Over 31.5 total points in the game. Like Rodgers, over 199. Alan Lazard, over 24.5 receiving yards. And the same thing for Aaron Jones, who I personally expect to be heavily involved tonight. I expect his role from week 1 to increase in week 2 here in this matchup.
All right, there you go. All right, question in the chat here. I just had it. Sorry. Herbert, over 23.5 rushing.
I like that personally. I think that Herbert is the better scheme fit for this team. He's also shown more compared to Montgomery. So, yeah, I think Herbert's going to continue to be involved. I think Montgomery is better suited as a pass-catching back. He's been effective in that role. Obviously struggled a lot in week 1. But, yeah, I think Khalil Herbert is going to continue to get mixed in more and more. You do have to worry about some game script potential issues here. If Chicago's trailing, they may not be running the ball, but they actually ran the ball quite a bit even when they were down last year with Fields at quarterback just to protect him some. So, yeah, I think Herbert's got a good shot at 5 to 7 carries and potentially more if Montgomery struggles. So, yeah, I'd lean over on that.
All right, there we go. All right, a FanDuel boost right here. Man, we're getting bots everywhere. All right, here we go.
Shout out to the bots.
Yeah, dude, they're coming in hot, boy. All right, FanDuel, what do you guys think? Aaron Jones, TD plus Packers to cover -6.5.
Need to know the payout on that. Need to know the price.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Jones got 5 targets last week. I think he's going to get at least that many tonight. I think he's going to go off as a receiver. He was in the 30s in both matchups last season against the Bears in terms of the receiving yards. And, you know, obviously the Packers have lost some weapons since then. So I feel that he is going to have a great chance to do that.
The boost is +250. Props good.
I just realized that I called David Montgomery Jordan Montgomery earlier. So I'm correct myself on that. So I pride myself on getting names correct. And
let me say the last name is more important in football than the first. I mean, if
enough.
you can get that one down, you can sound like you know what you're talking about. All right.
I've got pitching on my mind, K-props on my mind. Avery.
Also, I'm going to say, let me see. I just saw this in the chat, and it cracked me up. Daniel Greer, my man, DG. The likes are just 400 likes short. All right, so what we're going to do is everyone who is good at keeping a secret. All right, who's good at that? All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Also, on top of that, let's recap our plays that we have for the game tonight, and then we're going to do the VJM, get into it, let everybody get out of class early. If you want to go over to Sonic, get you something to eat, do that. All right, I'll tell you what. All right, let's bring up the picks here. I believe that's it. Boom. Maestro, go ahead first. What you got?
Okay, I mean, David Montgomery was just horribly ineffective last week. There were talk about how he's not a great fit for the new offensive system, and Herbert was explosive. It looked good, 5 yards a carry. Plus, Montgomery was doing better on passing downs, and he's a better pass blocker at this point. So if he gets more of the passing work, I don't believe he's going to get the rushes to get to 14 carries, especially with the game script. We need the Packers, for this prop to hit. Packers should get ahead early and try to get them out of their run game.
There we go. All right. Look, John Golden, our man Golden in the chat just said it best. Thanks, Waffle Fry. What do you got there, bub?
I've got A.J. Dillon over 14.5 receiving yards. Came off an excellent week 1 performance where he had 5 catches, 46 yards, had 6 targets, which led the team. Played 51% of the snaps, ran around on 37% of A-Rod's dropbacks. 38% target rate, was by far tops on the team as well. Since he's entered the league, he has an excellent 1.46 yards per route run. That's even higher than Aaron Jones, who is also a very good pass-catching back. Also, he's been extremely efficient with his targets. I mentioned this earlier, AB. 43 targets over last year and this 1 game sample, and he's reeled in 39 of those. Just not a lot of receiving talent. A lot of guys that Aaron trusts either, outside of really Lazard and I guess Randall Cobb, but he's not a volume guy whatsoever. So I just think he's going to continue to lean on both backs in the receiving game. So considering that we can get A.J. Dillon at 14.5 yards, which is significantly lower than Aaron Jones, who I do think will also be involved, this is just why I'm taking this running back receiving prop over 14.5 receiving yards for A.J. Dillon. L'chaim, by the way, A.J. Dillon.
What? Oh, I was going to say, hold on that 1 second, because we've got people that are asking all about Dillon. First, I'm going Packers team total over 26.5. Also going Packers kicker Mason Crosby over 1.5 field goals. I think regardless of game script, we should be good in minimum of 1, probably 2. Feel great about those. Now, before we get to Dillon, really quickly, all right, guys, somebody snitched and told the principal. Now the jeweler's in here. And Brandon Moore says it best. About to be in detention now that the jeweler's in the chat. He found out, somebody told, but you know what? We're going to let that slide one time only now for real props. People are asking. Danny Hall says, yeah. Please review A.J. Dillon receptions and receiving yards one more time. Thanks. Yeah, just what are your thoughts just in general?
Yeah, so I just was very encouraged by his week 1 usage in the passing game. I really think that looking at Rodgers' weapons, that he trusts him, and he's been very efficient. Looking at yards per route run, which is a really important metric to measure wide receivers' efficiency, he's been excellent in that department, even better than Aaron Jones. And Aaron Jones is a very good pass-catching back. So I just think 14.5 yards is way too low, especially considering his involvement in week 1. So I like this prop quite a bit. I also do expect Aaron Jones to be mixed in plenty as well in the passing game. But yeah, very much like A.J. Dillon over 14.5 receiving yards. I prefer it to the 2.5 receptions just because I could believe he can get there on 1 reception. But I would lean over on the 2.5 receptions as well.
All right. Mike, did you have any thoughts on that?
No, mostly just leaning where Alex does. I would attack the receiving yards. Look, receiving yards with running backs, definitely very volatile, but these 2 backs are going to be heavily involved. They have a shot to be the 2 leading receivers in the game still today for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. If the game script goes exactly like, we kind of all think that it is. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that becomes a de facto run game right there. All right. One quick question, then we're going to get to our VJMs. All right. So my man, Gary, Aaron Rodgers to throw an interception, yes. Here's the problem. I don't like it tonight, but for a couple of reasons. One, as the guy said, he might not be doing much passing in the second half. But 2, historically, I think Aaron Rodgers against the Bears alone has thrown 42 touchdowns and 2 picks. Ever. If you see an Aaron Rodgers pick to the Chicago Bears, tape it. It does not happen that often at all. So, yeah, I'm not saying it can't happen because interceptions can happen to anybody at any time, but it's about as risky as you can get right there. Props, any thoughts you have?
Yeah, I'm with you on that, AB. I defer to you with quarterback interceptions. So
it's tough. He just never throws it to them. And the Bears have had good defenses. He just doesn't do it, man. It's just. I
feel like he's just so smart with the football as well. He's got to be one of the most difficult quarterbacks to just pick off in general.
Yeah. Well, it goes to the game script. I mean, a lot of times he's up by 10 points at halftime or more.
Doesn't need to take a chance, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get into our VJMs here. All right, now I'll tell you what. Since Coach is doing some charity work tonight, and we miss him, and he's the coach in his seat, we're going to let him go first. How's that sound? Like it? All right.
What's going on, Early Edge fam? If you thought I was going to let the crew make picks without me for the VJM, oh, you're sadly mistaken. It's my turn. And I'm going to go with a man who last week caught one ball for 51 yards and a touchdown. His name, Dante Pettis. The Chicago Bears, plus 3,000. By the end of the night, I'm going to be popping bottles. And all those Ravens fans who lost their minds when I said today that the whole team is to blame, not just the defense. This one will be for all of you. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Dude, he makes me laugh, man. All right, Mikey, go ahead. Who you got tonight?
Well, you know what I like to do with the VJM typically is play a tight end. And I'm going to play the tight end who played the most snaps last week for the Green Bay Packers. That is Mercedes Lewis. Led the team in snaps at the tight end position. Will typically play around the goal line because they're running the football in a lot of those situations. However, he's caught touchdown passes from Aaron Rodgers before. Things get a little funky in primetime games like this. Plus 5,000 on Mercedes Lewis for the first touchdown over at MGM. Probably in the 2,500 to 3,000 range at other places. But at plus 5,000 over there, it's one I got to play.
There you go. And I'll tell you what, you reminded me of something. We've had 4 preseason games so far this NFL season. All 4 have hit the under. So we'll see if it goes to 5-0 or we get our first primetime over. Maestro, who you got, buddy?
Yeah, Justin Fields is over 10-1, which is our standard for this play. So I'm just going to play him based on the fact that he will be running on design runs. He will be running away from that Packers pass rush. And if for some reason the Bears are able to get in scoring position early, I like him to be the first scorer. So why not take it for the first of the game?
There you go. Prop stars. Well, I'll tell you what, prop stars, you hold on. I'm going to go, and then you go. I want you to go last, all right? Because I got a good feeling about you tonight. I think props is getting in the club tonight. Look, I'm going Sammy Watkins. I think, 1, our man can score. 2, doing it in honor of him squared, in honor of Coach, the former Chief himself. Doing it for Chief, too. Nice to see Chief in the stream. I always like when he joins the live one. I'm going Sammy Watkins. Depending on your book, plus 1,200, plus 1,300, somewhere around there. Yeah, keep it simple. Props, let it rip, bud.
Shout out to Chief, by the way. But yeah, we're going chalk AB, just trying to get into the club. I don't believe there is one club member yet with the Sportsline family yet. So I'm hoping to be the first one in this 2022 season. Like I said, we're going chalk. Mike's guy, Allen Lazard. This guy is a very good red zone wide receiver. Scored 8 touchdowns last year, including 8 TDs over his last 10 games played. He was Green Bay's best red zone weapon besides Devontae Adams, who obviously departed. So I think he is going to be the first look when Aaron gets down into that area. So, yeah, making his season debut. What a better way to come out, score a touchdown on the opening drive. Get me into the club, Mr. Lazard. And we'll just be hanging back. We'll be popping bottles. We'll be getting bottle service, AB. I'll be making a guest appearance on the DJ booth, be playing all the cuts while all you guys are trying to get in. And I'm just kicking back, having the time of my life in the club,
just
gentlemen.
FaceTiming the rest of us out in the streets?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Now, here's the problem. Our man Jeweler did not submit one. So props, you're going to select one for him. But I'm going to give you 2 options. All right? Correct me if I pronounce it incorrectly. Romeo Doubs?
Dobbs.
Dobbs. That's right. Dobbs. Yeah, Sia said that earlier today. Romeo plus 1,200 or Khalil Herbert plus 1,500.
I want to give Jeweler the best chance, so I'm going to go Dobbs just because I think, Green Bay is going to be scoring quite a bit more touchdowns tonight. So we'll go with Dobbs.
There we go. All right, Jeweler, you get that one. And if it hits, I do not get in trouble, and I get to substitute teach another time, and I'm not kicked out of the school. All right, Gonna go. Let me read through the picks here really quickly, and then we'll break down the last thing that you guys are looking for tonight and get on out of here. All right. So what we have. Larry Hartseed is David Montgomery under 13.5 rush attempts at -111. Prop stars A.J. Dillon over 14.5 receiving yards -115. I, Alan Bell, am on the Packers team total over 26.5 -110, and Mason Crosby over 1.5 field goals at -135. All right, parting shots here, boys. Props. I'll start with you. What are you looking most forward to tonight?
Yeah, I would like to see Green Bay bounce back after that week 1 performance where they struggled. I think this is a great opportunity to get back on track. I think a lot of people overreact after just 1 week. So I'm expecting an efficient performance out of Aaron Rodgers, and both A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones to be utilized quite a bit. And hopefully A.J. Dillon gets us home in the first quarter.
M squared?
Yeah, looking forward to see how the Packers respond. Aaron Rodgers, nice to have another weapon in Allen Lazard out there, and I'm really curious on the usage between the running backs. I'm expecting a lot more Aaron Jones tonight. Not saying a lot more than A.J. Dillon. I think they're both going to have a ton, but I'm expecting more involvement from Aaron Jones than we saw in week 1.
Maestro, bring us home. You're on mute.
It's twice now, Maestro.
My bad. Huge day for underdogs so far. We'll see if it carries over, but so many big dogs of around 6 or more covering, winning outright. Week 2 has historically been a week for dogs because of that overreaction where the favorites get inflated. We'll see if that continues tonight, but I'm seeing a lot of 10.5s in the market. It's just Packers money coming in.
Just betting them like crazy. Yeah. And mine, again, I said it a minute ago. We've had 4 primetime games. 4 unders. Interested to see if it gets to 5 or if we get our first primetime over of the year. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. I hope the substitute teacher approach, you guys had fun, and we can do it again sometime. Jeweler, don't get me in trouble there. But we'll be live at normal time Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern with the early edge. So until then, as always, best of luck. Let's cash these tickets. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.